But I want to talk with you, about the third part of our 永续. How do you grow a business from here? So we're talking about 过去、现在、未来. So I'm talking about the future part. There's a lot of challenges. For example, the U.S. and China trade war and the global, no more international trade. A lot of trade volume has come down. And on the other hand, a lot of consolidation in the industry, mergers, acquisition, private equity. So have you thought about these things? And how do you deal with the international challenges? And as a CEO of the company, what is your future plan for Foremost?
Well, thank you for that question. We have lots of wonderful challenges. So one of the things my father always said is don't be afraid of challenges and don't be afraid of difficulties. If difficulties come, that's when opportunities arise. And so yes, we have many challenges, but we're actually quite excited about them. We are on the forefront of environmentally friendly technologies in our ships. So we have an average age of a fleet of 5 years or less. And that sounds, of course, very impressive, and indeed it is very impressive. This is a tradition that my father started 30 years ago. So nowadays there are all these public companies that are trying to take public money to, go public and have a glamorous IPO. But in fact, my father's been on the forefront of this for 30 years. So when he started Foremost in 1964, this is our 55th year, the environmental regulations and safety regulations were completely different. They were almost not even existent. And so as the next generation coming into the business, I feel incredibly proud and incredibly responsible to keep our oceans clean, to keep our environment clean, and to create the most cost-effective but environmentally friendly way of transport around the world. Ships is actually still the best way to transport goods, most economical, most environmentally friendly, much better than airplanes, cars, rail, etc. And so our industry is facing all sorts of different new regulations in 2020, 2030. We want to be carbon neutral by 2050. So these are enormous challenges for our industry that we spend a great deal of, not my father, of course, but we at the company spend a great deal of time about thinking, how do we want our fleet to look like in the future? Not only do we have to be young, not only do we have to be modern, not only do we have to, of course, partner with our charterers and to see how they see the world is going to look like in 5, 10, 15 years from now. But we're also closely working with the shipyards to develop these new environmentally friendly technologies so that our fleet can be the most sustainable and with the best carbon footprint going forward in the world. So those are some of the challenges that we're facing that a lot of people in the industry are actually withdrawing or retreating from our industry because the regulatory environment is so cumbersome and so laborious. But for us, we take great pride in being able to face those challenges. And we're very, very lucky. As my father started this company with my mother 55 years ago, we have an incredible base. So we have the support of our charterers, the biggest companies in the world that need goods transported, and we also have great banks that will support us. And we have a great team. We have, our New York offices, and we have a research and development team in Shanghai that specifically looks at these environmentally friendly technologies. So that's one of the flags that we will fly going forward that we're really quite proud of, too.
And in addition to these, friendly, environmental friendly new technology, have you ever thought about strategic alliance or making acquisitions or forming partnership with other companies, because there's a lot of things, a very volatile industry, a lot of things going on.
Yes, there are. We have many strategic alliances, not equity, but strategic alliances. We consider each of our charterers to be one of our strategic partners. We actually only deal with about 7 of the biggest companies in the world, and those are whose goods we transport. And they are, they're not partners in a liability sense, in a legal sense, nor are they partners in an equity sense, but partners in terms of working together with someone. So one of the things that my father also, you had mentioned, sustainability and how do you face these challenges going forward. One thing my father always says is, as exciting as this world is, and we should embrace the new technologies, the high tech, I mean, we're trying to look at machine learning and AI, how we can use them on board the ships, make some of, while the ships in totality can't necessarily be smart ships in the next 5 to 10 years, we are looking at, our different major equipment on board to be smart. In fact,
I even heard about 无人船,
Actually, our ships can be man zero. Our ships can have no people on board from port to port, but once you get into the port, you still need pilots. Actually, because of the 工会, you need to have somebody. The actual pilots around the world are actually very, very powerful. So once you get into port, then you have to have a pilot on board, bring you to the berth. But actually, in open sea, our ships can actually be man zero already. But my point was that my father remembers and always says, no matter how fancy things get, most important is human relationships. 这个是我们的基本. We, of course we have to take advantage of technologies, and of course we have to learn, but we must always remember the people-to-people exchanges, the people-to-people learning.
人的价值，热烈的掌声鼓励啊！科技不忘人性。
And that's what makes life wonderful.